Hey, welcome back. Today I want to solve a really boring problem. That's my back wall here. That's boring. There's nothing there. There's no dimension, there's no depth, there's nothing to look at. If you're filming at home or you're running constant Zoom calls and your office is as boring as mine, let's fix that. So today I'm going to gather a couple of things from around my house, a few Ikea items, a quick Ikea hack, and hopefully turn this into so what about lighting? I have a couple ideas, and this is where the Ikea hack comes in. I picked up their Molnart fancy bulb, the cover, and their corded switch, which you can see I've assembled one of them here. And what you're supposed to do is just hang it from the ceiling using their provided little silver hooks. That's kind of boring though. So instead of just hanging the cord from the ceiling, my plan is to hang the lights over the cord, run the cord behind the lights, and then down the side of the wall. That way it has a little bit of a rustic appearance versus just adding it straight to the ceiling. I want to try to make the 2x4 itself look aged, scrape it, bang it, hammer it, and then from the ceiling, I'll use a set of hooks, gonna paint them black, and some black chain that I got at Home Depot. This was actually old chandelier chain, but nonetheless you can buy the same thing, or on Amazon or wherever. I'll have links down below the description so you can try to find these things, including which model numbers and stuff that I'm using here. I think by adding a little bit of lighting in the backdrop, it'll really make the other accoutrements pop, and it'll look pretty. So let's get to destroying this perfectly good 2x4. You know how much these things cost today. Oh well, here we go. So to start, I want to get the stamping and the writing off of here. And because we want this to look aged, I'm just going to use a belt sander and go at it kind of hard because it doesn't have to be smooth and clean. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses, earmuffs, and if you don't have a dust collector, mine is kind of a homemade dust collector, wear a safety mask to keep the debris out. So you can see, no more lettering. Now, it's kind of roughed up, but it's still, I think we need to take it to the next level. How about a heavy hammer with a blunt edge? That ought to put some dimples in it. Watch fingers. I think it needs more. How about gouging it with a painter's knife? Now, if you don't have a painter's knife, a flat blade screwdriver or razor blade, those will do the same thing. How about the claw end, a little baby hammer? It's starting to look a little bit beat up, but I want to take it one step further. Let's put it on the rocks and see what we can do there. See, over there. It's certainly starting to look beat up. All right, after beating it up in the rocks, I've got my hand chisel, knife, blade thingy here that I'm going to use to score the edges a little bit. Let's see. Watch that other hand. Obviously, you can take this process as far as you want. It's up to you how rough and tumble and scary it looks. I'm going to ease these edges a little bit now with the belt sander again and see how I like it there. So to stain this guy, I'm going to be using a set of old gloves, old rag, and I'm going to see what special walnut looks like because I've liked it on other projects. Now, depending how detailed you want to go with this, you can put a little bit of extra on your rag or your brush, whatever you decide to use, and squeeze it into all those gouges so that it doesn't look like there's fresh wood back there. Now I'm curious what it will look like with a little bit of a darker stain, so I have some ebony here. I'm testing this black on the back side, just in case I don't like it. I think I like it. It's taking some of the red out of the walnut and really making it look older, I think, which ultimately is our goal here. Okay, you can see that I spray painted the hooks here on this spare board and got a new tool out, got my torch. I'm kind of thinking that no antiquing wood project is complete without a little bit of fire. Plus, it's kind of fun. So I'm gonna kick on a fan so that I don't die from the fumes and play a little music while I burn stuff. Okay, that actually accomplished what I had hoped in removing some of the soft grain with the heat and a little bit of sandpaper. You can see the difference on this side. The soft grain in here is much darker. So now I need to do the other side to match and give it that contrast. Just spraying a little bit of Miracle Cleans around there. Water. Not too shabby. This will be the front side that shows. See, I got a little bit of extra grooving in there. It's still dark. See where the water is drying out still. The soft grain. That'll look pretty nice. So keeping things simple, I'm just going to be using a paste finishing wax. This is in the natural color. Since this isn't going to be exposed to any elements, nobody's touching it, no weather, no weird stuff, I just want to give something to moisturize it and bring out some of the color in the wood and enhance this natural beauty that we're giving it, unnatural beauty, you know, whatever way you want to look at that. And this is an easy process. I don't have to wait for a polyurethane to dry or anything of that nature. So this is much faster too. You just wax it just like you would a car. A little bit of paste, buff it in, then you're done. The paste wax also leaves the wood feeling super smooth, which will be nice for installation. Got to keep my hands soft. Because it's cold in here, the wax is super hard. Some of it got stuck in the knots. I'm just going to melt it into place and hopefully smooth it out. So fast forward to tomorrow. The wax is dry, the stain is dry, it's not off-gassing anymore, and my hooks are all dry as well. So I've already measured where my anchors will be in the ceiling and where I want them to line up on my beam. And I'll use the wing nut installer to screw these in. That did. All right, so I need to pilot hole. Let's try to put them in. Nice. Aw, shucks. I guess that one didn't like the impact. Good thing I made extra. Okay, got my chains. One chain. Two. Let's go put this up. So I want my lights to hang about 6 inches off the wall, which is what I have taped up here. And I don't want to just use drywall anchors in the ceiling, so I want to make sure that I'm hitting my ceiling joists. I know in my house that my joists run this direction and they're 24 inches on center. So I measured out already and double checking the stud finder. I've got a stud or joist right there and I've got one right over there. So now I just need to pilot and put a couple of hooks in the ceiling, double check that they work. That's a joist. That too, where I wanted it. Now that I have these set, I'll pull them out and we can take the tape off. Just like on our beam, gotta put our hooks up. Remember, we pre-drilled these earlier when we were looking for the studs. So they went in nice and easy. All right, take two after dropping one of the chains. Try this again. Now, is it level? Nope. Darn. Now what? Well, this is one of those situations where the plan just didn't work. Anywhere I put those lights up there, it's leaning to the right because the center of the beam isn't centered on the hooks to the ceiling. I did that because I wanted the beam right there, so I thought, well, I'll just move it over. Nope, that was not the correct logic. So now I experiment. Back to the drawing board. That's kind of a bummer. Okay, so after chasing my tail a little bit, it turns out that measure twice, cut or drill once. Yeah, really pay attention to that, because I put this eye bolt here, right there. I don't know how I did that. I thought I measured, thought I marked it. Nope, it was supposed to be there. So now, we're running even again. Measure twice, drill once. You'd think that I would have figured that out by now, but I guess we're all still learning. Okay, we are moving right along here. Starting to look pretty good. The only thing I'm not happy with is those power cables. So I'm going to break some rules, and I'm going to be using some low voltage boxes or plates and boxes to run the wires back through the wall. Now, don't say I said to do this, because you're not allowed to do this. This is a violation of NEC code, but you can look that up. I'll put the code here on the screen and make your own decisions on that. For now, this is how I'm gonna do it. You have a couple different options. You could just run the cords down the wall, down the corner of the wall. You could hire an electrician to give you an outlet up top, or don't do this. Remember I said not to do this. The National Electric Code says not to. You could run these low voltage covers in the wall just to hide the wires to come down and plug in. Pretty confident that that'll be okay. So I've got two options to cut out the wall: an oscillating bit with a flat blade, or an oscillating tool with a flat blade, or these fancy little guys that I found. These are called Q bits. They'll actually cut out for a single the exact size that we need. So I'm going to be using these. To get everything lined up the way I want it, I'm using my little laser level, lining up with the bottom of the box. I already know that I have a stud here and a stud here. So I can open this up and use my lines to square it. Just like that. Make a big old mess. So one quick tip with these cut-in boxes: they have a pretty coarse thread on the little plastic pieces. And what I've always found to be pretty helpful is if you thread them in and out 1 or 2 times before you put it in the wall. That way you make sure that the little feet that are going to grab the back of the drywall actually move. Otherwise you can put them in there and they're cross-threaded, or they weren't installed properly and they don't move, and then you break them and you have to buy another one. That's a pain in the butt. I hate when that happens, because it's happened more times than I like to admit, which is why I say run them in and out a few times, then put them in the wall. Now, drop our cover in, get it tightened up. You can hear right when the tension hits. We're good to go. In order to hide the cable back behind our beam, what I'm using are these cable clamps, and I'll get a close-up of this and put it over top. On the back side, I already clamped that one in place. You can see it'll hold the cable right there. And what I'm doing is, it's just like a staple, but with 2 little tiny nails. These clamps are actually designed for Romex or non-metallic cable in your wall. They're safe for clamping down on these power cables because they give us just enough room to still be able to move it if needed, but we'll hold it in place to keep it from moving around, so that we can make sure that if we're going to hide these cords, they disappear. Now, I understand that this is outside of code, but for anybody out there that understands why, I'd love for you to comment down below what makes this so unsafe. Especially given that the means of disconnect is readily available. I'm sure that there was a reason for it. I'm just not sure what it is. I do have a different means of disconnect that I'm planning on. Let's take a look at what that is now. To turn these on and off without having to plug them in each time, I'm going to be using these Leviton Wi-Fi switches. I'm a really big fan of home automation, and I've been using Leviton products for a while. Not sponsored, but hey, Leviton, if you're out there, I have a ton of your stuff in my house. These are great. I can turn them on and off from my phone. These ones are dimmable. These ones are dimmable. I've got a number of these throughout my house, plus switches and outlets that are Leviton controlled.
and I can control them through my Google Home or my Leviton app. Whole bunch of different ways. Apple HomeKit. It's just been awesome to use these. So this will make this specifically way more convenient. It's as simple as plugging it in, plugging in my light, and then programming them through the Leviton app. Okay, now it's time to put the pretty stuff in place. All right, a guitar, that's a good idea. And check. I'm gonna need somewhere to set everything. What does Mr. Jack think? He thinks I should use this couch table. It doesn't need to be there. Let's take that. And pretty table check. This guy. And this guy. How about a little bit of plant stuff? That one will work. And maybe this. Ooh, what's this knick-knack? And something obscure. Okay, so as you can see, with just a little bit of work, a couple of items from Goodwill, Home Goods, any fun little store, and Ikea, plus Home Depot, you can turn your backdrop into really whatever you want. Your creativity is your only limit here. This was the look that I was going for, and when I'm chilling on the couch back here trying to escape from my kids, reading a book, it's cozy, it's comfortable, and if I ever decide to do any type of a talking head video, kind of like this one, I have something a little more unique in the background besides just a blank canvas. Obviously with a blank canvas you can do anything you want with a green screen, but this looks nice on a daily basis. I can play the guitar, it's a little more easily accessible than digging it out of one of the kids' rooms, and I like it. So hopefully this was a good introduction for you to manipulate your space a little bit. If you want to see some of my other videos, you can take a look at one of these over here or over here. And I'd appreciate like, subscribe if you found this to be useful for you. Until the next video, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.